Hello and welcome to the breakout room session for students participating on affiliate, exchange, or direct programs for summer 2022, fall 2022, or academic year 2022. Welcome. Thanks for joining us for pre-departure orientation. This is going to be a short session geared towards students in your program type. If you are on faculty directed or another program, this is not for you. Please hop back into the main session or see your details for that general reminder session. So without further ado, let's get to it. So on general reminders, we need to remind you to actually, so you should be seeing my screen hopefully here with general reminders. We do need to remind you to work on all of your documents in your portal. So first off, your portals that you have for Vols Abroad. That is very important to go ahead and log back into your Vols Abroad from our main website. Click the continue application and go through and look at your checklist and make sure that all of your items are good to go. The copy of passport, make sure you've uploaded that. If you have problems with that, you can always reach out to our office at volsabroad@utk.edu to check in with us. So your flight details, your copy of passport, those are important uploads you need to do in the system. Read and sign any documents. So just double checking your Vols Abroad portal. There is no final absolute deadline, but we very much encourage you to finish that before exams begin so that all of your documents are up to date, and that reduces your stress and planning timeline. If you're going in fall and academic year and you're still waiting on some information in order to do that, we understand. We just encourage you to submit your information and complete your portal as soon as possible. You also, of course, need to obtain your passport or visa. If you are going in summer, you need to have your visa now, or you need to be tracking. If you've applied for it and you're expecting it, that should be getting here now if you're departing here coming soon in the summer. So please do your due diligence to check that. Be sure that you have your passport, that it's signed, that you're ready to go for your summer short-term programs. And for fall and academic year, you should make sure your passport's ready to go and that you're taking those next steps with the visa process, which should be coming up here soon, depending on your start date of your program in the fall. Read about your host destination. Make sure that you're getting to know the location where you're going to be. You're going to be receiving information from your affiliate organization, your host university. Make sure you're reading that information and do your own due diligence of looking up information about your program. You heard about International SOS in our main session. That resource is great for learning more about the country, anything from cultural activities, things you should know, technology. Lots of good information can be found in International SOS, but also locations like lonelyplanet.com. So looking at resources, both official, professional resources, and fun and interesting travel guides and travel resources that exist out there on social media and the internet. So get to know where you're going. Complete any necessary items in the Vols Abroad portal for the study abroad placeholder course. For you as programs, students going on programs with transfer credit, you definitely will be enrolled in the study abroad placeholder course, but you need to make sure your Vols Abroad portal is completed for us to do that. The most important items are committing to your program, which if you are still getting accepted and finalizing that, you just want to commit as soon as you are able to. Signing the study abroad waiver in your Vols Abroad portal, so reading and signing that item, and then also reading and signing the COVID-19 acknowledgement in your portal. Those are the three key items that you can get enrolled in the study abroad placeholder course. But as we said, please complete as many of your Vols Abroad portal items as you can at this point. Check on One Stop's website for financial aid. We will talk about that just shortly, but make sure that you're aware of those deadlines. Our UT billing and payments for programs abroad align with the university standard billing and payment deadlines for their terms. Transcripts. Your transcripts must be sent directly to the Programs Abroad office after your program for you to get transfer credit. Do not, absolutely do not send it to the general registrar. If in doubt, reach out to the Programs Abroad office so we can give you that information. But it needs to be sent to our address. That's the Programs Abroad office, University of Tennessee, 1620 Melrose Avenue, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37996. You will find that address on the bottom of all of our Programs Abroad office web pages in our basic just contact information. So always, always send your transcript to the Programs Abroad office directly and never to the registrar. Also, do not forget to complete all the other tasks required by your program. So for example, your affiliate program has a portal, your host institution, your school abroad, they are probably going to have a portal where they will need you to complete items for them, course registration, housing details. So make sure that you're completing all of the items needed by your host university or your affiliate. And if you are unsure, reach out to them and double check that everything is good to go and that you are on track for getting all of that completed. So make sure that you complete any items needed by your affiliate or your host institution abroad. Follow all policies and procedures outlined by your host institution. Of course, as you heard in the main session, you are representing the University of Tennessee abroad, and we expect you to abide by those UT behavior policies, but also you need to be aware of your host institution and your program's policies abroad and be responsible for those. So you have a twofold responsibility, both to the University of Tennessee and to the country and program on which you will be participating. Vols help vols. So take care of your fellow students, be sure that you're informed and aware so that you can have a successful program abroad. So what you need to know about academics and finances for your program type. So the expectation, of course, is that you will participate in class and follow all academic procedures outlined by your program, your host institution, the country where you are. So you do need to be present, active, and engaged in your coursework. There's a study abroad. Remember that your grades from your program are not pass-fail. Those grades do count. They count as transfer credit. So you will be earning grades in the academic system where you are abroad, and those grades will be transferred back to UT. So there is an equivalency. Make sure that you check with your host university with your program. Some of your program courses may be coming back on a US transcript from a partner school abroad, and others from an actual European transfer system. So make sure that you're looking into that as you plan for your program, and that you know that the grades that you make abroad will come back and transfer to UT. Understand that it is your responsibility also to know how your courses are going to count towards your degree. So we will talk about the process of request for transfer credit that puts that in writing, but make sure that you're talking to your academic advisors about how these courses you're planning to take will count towards your degree. That is your responsibility. Tips for success. So how to be successful in academics abroad? Be in class. Even if the attendance policy allows you to have a bit of flexibility, be there, because that gets you connected to the faculty, your professors, you're able to just reinforce the information you're reading and learning. So being in class is really important. Talk to your faculty, complete all of your coursework. If you have any questions or worries about the coursework in the beginning of the course, talk to your faculty and your host institution representatives, your affiliates, contacts, because they can help you kind of navigate that and get you some assistance from the get-go. So understand how your instructors are going to deliver class. So what platforms are you going to use? Are you going to have a hybrid class that has some information on an online portal you need to access? Are you going to be all in person? So make sure you understand how your instructors are providing you information and that you're connecting to those portals and asking questions if you have trouble doing so. Set a schedule with yourself to provide you structure and keep you motivated. So are you going to study a certain amount of hours a week so that you have your weekends free to travel and experience your local city? So make sure that you're setting up an expectation and schedule for your academic work to stay successful. Read and respond to all school emails regularly. So you may very well have an email address for your host institution if you're going to be abroad for a whole year or semester. And you will have your UT email. So making sure that you are aware of how you'll be contacted and that you're monitoring those emails and portals regularly so that you do not miss any important information from UT or from your program abroad. So your credit, as we said, credits are not pass-fail. They will come back as transfer credit. So as you can see on a UT affiliate or an exchange or direct program, your type of credit will be transfer credit. Transfer credit will come back to UT. It will count towards your general UT GPA, general cumulative GPA. So that is things that are looked at for the Hope Scholarship, for example. Any transfer credit you would take, whether it's from Pellissippi or from a school abroad, the Hope Scholarship is looking at all of your credit that you have ever taken. So your GPA for those courses abroad does affect Hope Scholarship and others, potentially other scholarships. So it is going to potentially affect your scholarship eligibility, the courses you earn, the grades that you earn from the courses you take abroad. So request for transfer credit. You will have a request for transfer credit form in your Vols Abroad checklist that you will have to do. So we will transition to talk about that. That request for transfer credit process is outlined here on this slide. It will start with you, the student, completing an online request for transfer credit form. You will find this form in your Vols Abroad portal. And regardless of which step you are in the process, if a few of you are still getting accepted, you will find the transfer credit form instructions PDF either in the course program of study statement in your checklist or in an item called request for transfer credit form. So when you open up the item in the Vols Abroad checklist, make sure that you click on the highlighted and underlined link which is called request for transfer credit form. So that item, that name in the instructions is highlighted, and clicking on it will produce a PDF that gives you instructions on the process. The PDF is very important to read fully through before you start the form. That PDF will give you the links to the request for transfer credit form, depending on your college and the credit you're seeking. And then it will give you general tips. So what you need to prepare before you start this process, particularly the syllabi for your courses. And then it will give you some tips for filling out the form for each different college at UT. The College of Arts and Science and the College of Business have a particular workflow with the process, and all other colleges are using yet a third form. So making sure that you read through that. It is a lot of information, but it's very important to digest first before you begin the process. Ask us questions if you have questions about starting it before you start. That form goes through quite a lengthy workflow, as you can see here on the slide. So it's very important that you start out on the right foot with all of the right information, filling it out completely so that it can go through the process. For summer, it is urgent that you start this. You should start this form now. For fall and academic year, if you have your course information, you can start this form now, but you will want to start it at least 2 or 3 months prior to departure, because it will take, as you can see, these steps to go through. So it will start with you. You'll be entering information about your program, your courses. Make sure to put your preferred courses, so your ideal 4 or 5 courses you would enroll for, and a series of backup courses for those. So you'll have preferred and backup courses, and you'll need a syllabus and course description for each course that you will upload as an attachment. So that will be your first step. That's you. The form will then go through undergraduate admissions, where they will determine how many UT credits the course will count for and whether it's upper or lower division at UT. After undergraduate admissions, that form may come back to you if you are in any college except for arts and science or business. Any other college, you will be then sending the form on to your academic advisor by entering their net ID in the form. So making sure that you're connecting with your academic advisor through this process is very important. And you know who will be approving your credit in your college so that you can know who to send that to. So your academic advisor in MyUTK is a good go-to, but go ahead and speak to your academic advisors about this process now. So your academic advisor will be the next reviewer of the form, and that will then go to our Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships. Because of the course program of study requirement, which means that if you get, in order to get state and federal funding like HOPE or student loans, you need to take courses that are degree applicable. And that means that financial aid looks at your courses to be sure that they are degree applicable, and your academic advisors are answering that question in their review. So financial aid is in the workflow because they're looking to determine if you are taking enough degree applicable courses to receive your funding. So that step happens, and then the form goes back to you. You actually have a final review step of the form where you can see exactly what review has been done, and you will then be saying, yes, I'm good to go with these courses, or no, I'm not, and you're going to submit another form if there is something that you need to discuss or that you need to recomplete. So finally, once you have reviewed it yourself, then that form goes to the Programs Abroad office and it is processed. We process those periodically in groups and check them off in your Vols Abroad portal. So this form has a long workflow to go through. Go ahead and start now. Go ahead and approach us with questions now if you have them, and talk to your academic advisors before starting the form so that you know you're on the right track. All right, so that's the request for transfer credit form. Please feel free to reach out to us to connect with our office if you have questions as you review the instructions and begin this process. As I said, for summer, please begin right away. Now, behavioral expectations. In addition to academics, you are responsible for the UT Code of Conduct and the behavioral expectations of the programs on which you'll be participating. So you're an ambassador for the UT, but also for the US. There are consequences of not following behavioral expectations of your programs. Those can be, of course, endangering your personal health and safety, undergoing sanctions that could come back to UT from your program, potentially being sent home from your program, depending on the violations, and suffering legal consequences in the country, depending on the violations. There are things that we cannot actually help with. For example, being locked up abroad. You don't want that to happen. We've all seen that show. So make sure that you are aware of the rules and regulations of the place where you're going, the behavioral expectations. So pay great attention on site on arrival at your orientation on the rules and regulations that are set out in your particular country, in your particular program, so that you're aware and able to be sure to meet those behavioral expectations. So financials. Financials, of course, are a very important part of the process. In order to receive your financial aid abroad for a semester or academic year, those of you participating on a longer term program, you need to be enrolled in at least 12 credit hours and pass those successfully to bring back that transfer credit in order to stay in good standing for academic progress and in good standing for course program of study to receive your financial aid and not have any financial consequences when you come back or anything to repay. So 12 to 15 credit hours is common, but at least 12 must be taken and passed and transferred back to UT each semester. For mini-term and summer, to receive the majority of aid, such as Hope Scholarship, student loans, typically you need to be enrolled in at least 6 credit hours. Now, for summer, you could potentially take a course in mini-term in May and a course abroad in June, and then have 6 credit hours and be eligible for a certain number of aid at UT. So it all does not have to happen abroad when you're talking about summer, because you have a variety of terms that you could take coursework in. But for receiving most financial aid, you need to take 6 credit hours. You do need to complete the request for transfer credit form for both of these situations. In the Vols Abroad portal, you will find those instructions, as we said, so that form must be completed. And then once your request for transfer credit form has gone through financial aid, they will post a study abroad financial aid certification form in your MyUTK, and that will need to be completed. It's a very short form just saying you have read and understood the financial aid implications of your program and that you are certifying that you understand them. So very quick form, but that happens after your request for transfer credit form has been processed. So those 2 items absolutely must be completed for your aid to disperse. So those are important to remember. Now let's talk about deadlines. So as we said, summer and fall and academic year deadlines align with those UT deadlines for payment and billing, but our summer payment due date is June 7th. The CGE scholarship, which is awarded by the Center for Global Engagement, will be dispersed shortly afterward at the regular disbursement date of all other financial aid and scholarships, as you can see here on the slide. For our fall and academic year students, same thing with it being aligned with the UT standard deadlines, so you can see these on the One Stop website if you need. The fall payment due date is August 22nd, and then they're expecting the disbursements to happen just around that same time, just before. For the CGE scholarship, that typically is on your record just before the payment due date. We have a special process that we use for that with the Office of the Bursar, where they disperse that in the financial aid office onto your account. So those are some of the dates to make a note of, and you can always check back on One Stop's website for referencing those. Now, thinking about money abroad, you're thinking about your finances at UT and how that's going to function, but also think about your money abroad. Using online currency converters is a really good idea. Some good ones are xe.com and oanda, OANDA.com. Those can give you a sense of where you are with the euro. The exchange rate is pretty good for dollar to euro right now, but it may not be so good for other places, exchange rates in Scandinavia or in Asia. So making sure that you are looking at your particular program at the exchange rate, knowing your currency conversion and keeping that in mind as you plan your budget. Consider getting local cash before your departure. That might be costly. It really depends on where you're going, what type of currency you need, but you can ask your local bank here for whether they can get you that currency, what it would cost you, like if there's a fee for them to do that, and the length of time. So asking about a month out is good advice because it may take them a few weeks to order that if you want. Now, if you're not able to do that, you can likely convert some money in the airport. So you probably want to take some cash with you just in case, some US cash, in case you need to convert it. Converting cash while you're there is not going to get you the best exchange rate, but it would get you some local currency if you need it. But you can typically use ATMs on arrival in the airport. If you're going to a major airport abroad, you will be able to get some money out at ATMs, and ATMs are probably the best exchange rate. So making sure that you talk to your bank about your cards so that they know that you're going abroad. You let them know the dates of your travel, that you're traveling internationally, where if they ask, so that they'll know that you're going to be using your debit card, your bank card, your credit cards abroad, and use ATMs smartly. So using ATMs that are official. So in that international airport when you arrive, in a bank when you're in the city, and not in places that are not official. So using ATMs smartly. Research the cost of living in your country and city to establish a budget. So most of your programs will assist you with establishing that budget, and they will have that on their website and in their pre-departure guide. So make sure you're looking for that information with your affiliate or host university to know what those costs are going to be, but also do some research on that yourself. Look at what your travel plans are, how much additional money you need in order to have the spending budget that you're expecting. So making sure you plan that out and think about it. So we want you to stay connected, of course, and stay global during your program and even before. Go ahead and follow us. We are on social media at UTK Programs Abroad. On Instagram is one of our favorite accounts. And the CGE also, the Center for Global Engagement at UTK Global. So connect with us, follow us. While you're abroad, share your experience using the hashtag VolsAbroad. Tag us in your photos, videos, use our hashtag so that we can share your experiences with the students back here on campus. There's also the opportunity to do a takeover. If you're interested in an Instagram takeover, you can reach out to our office at volsabroad@utk.edu, and we may also be reaching out to you so that you could do an Instagram takeover with us during your program in the summer or in the fall or academic year. So let us know if that interests you. After your program, we would love to have you stay connected with our office. You can be one of our peer advisors, students who help other students prepare to go abroad that you may have met during your process if you came into our office in Melrose Hall. So that opportunity is there. Those applications are typically open in the summertime for the coming year, but we would love, for you to be a part of that program with our office. There is also a Programs Abroad alumni organization, student club actually on campus that you can join. And then, of course, participate in any opportunities to work with the office when you come back to share your experience. We do some programming for students typically, so being aware and connected and letting us know if you're interested, because there may be those opportunities to share your experience on your return with other future Vols Abroad. So keep in touch with us, follow us on social media, email us at volsabroad@utk.edu if you need us at any time, and then send us a postcard. There are free postcards to pick up in the Programs Abroad Office Resource Room in Melrose Hall that you can take with you on your program and send them back to us to share just a little tidbit of your experience abroad. So thank you again for your time today, for attending orientation, and we wish you a successful and exciting program abroad. If you do need us, please ask questions as you're planning for your program so everything can go as smoothly as possible. Thank you again, and have the rest of your evening.